questions. We define the notion of curvature less than k and for some metric spaces. And what I will do today first is to make the link between the metric spaces with curvature less than k and Riemannian manifolds with sectional curvature less than k. So this link was already made. A part of this thing was made by Thomas in his lecture on comparison geometry, and we will just see that this is right. This is an equivalence. So we speak on Riemannian manifolds. Okay, so the theorem is take a Riemannian manifold NG. It has sectional curvature less than k if and only if it has curvature less than k we'll precise here for the statement in the sense of Alexandrov. Okay, so in fact, it was I think the main motivation by Alexandrov. It was to express some curvature bound only in terms of the distance and not in terms of differential invariance, like the sectional curvature. Okay, so the proof. There is one sense which was done by Thomas. It's this one. So if MG has sectional curvature, this is so the Cartan, Alexandrov, Sotonogov theorem. I think it was the name of the theorem that Thomas precised. So what Thomas proved in his lecture is that if you have this bound on the sectional curvature, then the triangle satisfies the second property I gave on Tuesday, and therefore it is so at least for small triangles, and therefore the NG is locally cat k, and so it has curvature less than k in the sense of Alexandrov. And to prove that in fact these two statements are equivalent, we have to find a way to catch the sectional curvature from properties of triangles. And this is done by the asymptotic expansion of the distance function. So this is done in the following way. So I pick some x in M and two vectors in the tangent space, which are from 1 and orthogonal. And with this, I consider the two geodesic emanating from X with initial speeds u and v. So I have u, v, and so I consider gamma u of t and gamma v of t. And if I look at the distance square, so I note c of t, the distance between gamma u of t and gamma v of t. And if I'm looking at the square of the distance, for small t, this has the following asymptotic expansion. It is 2 chi square minus the sectional curvature over sex times 4 plus some term which is negligible with respect to T4, and where P is the two plane which is spanned by U and V, right? So you can retrieve the sectional curvature from the asymptotic expansion of this distance. And now what I can do here, I have a triangle X, gamma U of t and gamma V of t, right? With the length here, which is C of t, and I just construct the comparison triangle in M to K. So in M to K, which is also a Riemannian manifold, we have U and U bar and V bar, which are tangent at some point X bar. And I have 2 points here. And I can consider a distance T from X bar. And I can consider the distance C bar, which is a function of T. And because my space has curvature less than K in the sense of Alexandrov, I know that C bar of T is less than C of T. And in the model space, I have the law of cosine, which gives me that C bar of T is explicit. But we just do the computation when K is equal to 0 because it's easy. So if K is equal to 0, C bar of T is just equal to, so I will take the square, it's just equal to 2 squared. So in fact, what I get in the asymptotic expansion, when I'm doing the asymptotic expansion in Riemannian manifold, the first term is always the Euclidean term. That is in the Euclidean situation, everything, all the other terms vanish. So now I just have to compare. I know that so C bar square of T, which is equal to 2T square, is greater than C of T square, T square minus the sectional curvature of T over 6. So it is in the other sense, C of T is greater than C bar. T4 plus negligible terms, and this implies that the sectional curvature of the two-plane P is non-positive. All right, and if you want to do it for other value of K, so what we have to do is to write the law of cosine and take an asymptotic expansion of the law of cosine and compare the two asymptotic expansions, and it will give you the right results. Okay, so we have a notion of curvature less than K, which in the case of Riemannian manifolds give you the characterization of sectional curvature upper bound. And in fact, it's not always useful if you want to have some notion of curvature on the metric space. It can be also useful when you have when you want to prove some things on Riemannian manifolds with curvature upper bound. You can use a triangle comparison, and you can make very geometrical proof instead of proof with a lot of computations of curvature and so on and so on. Okay, now what I can do is to answer a question I had at the last section, the consequence of this. Is that if I'm taking two K1 and K2 with K1 less than K2, and if XD has curvature less than K1, so this is now in the sense of Alexandrov, then it has curvature less than K2. This is hopefully true, and the proof is quite easy. So I assume that, so I take a triangle, delta x, y, z, with perimeter. I assume that x has a curvature less than K1. So I take a triangle with perimeter less than 2 dk2. I want to prove that it has also curvature less than k2. And what I get, since dk is a decreasing function on k, this is less than, so it is correct. This is less than 2 dk1. So I can construct a comparison triangle both in the model space of curvature k1 and k2. And so I'm taking my triangle x, y, z. And I have the first comparison triangle in MK1. I'm picking point P and Q. So say X1, Y1, and Z1 with point P1 and Q1. And I have the second comparison triangle in MK2. Point X2, Y, Z2, and Y2, and comparison point P2 and Q2. And I can just look at the distance between P and Q, and I know that distance between P and Q is less than the distance between P1 and Q1. This is just because X is has curvature less than K1. And the second one is just because MK1 has sectional curvature K1, which is less than K2. So MK1 has curvature less than K2 in the sense of Alexandrov because of the theorem. And this is less than the distance between P2 and K2 and Q2. And therefore, X has a curvature less than K2 in the sense of Alexandrov. Okay, so this is, everything is done for the Riemannian case, and we have a notion of upper bound for the curvature, which works fine. So what I will do now is to look at some way to construct cat K spaces or spaces, metric spaces with curvature less than K. And I will look at two kinds of construction and some of their properties. So first I will look at what happened when we consider the product of two spaces. So how the property of having curvature less than K behaves when I'm taking product spaces. So I'm taking two X1 and X2 geodesic spaces. And before saying something on the curvature upper bounds, I just have to precise what are the geodesics on the product. So I'm taking X, which is the product of X1 and X2.
There is a question.
Yeah.
Is there an example of space which is locally Kafka but not Kafka?
Yes, I think that we already gave one last time. We take a surface of curvature -1, and it is not uniquely geodesic, so it's not cat -1, but it has curvature less than -1. So I take the product and I put the distance, which is given by the square root of the sum of the square of the two other distances. So the distance between x1 and x2 and y1 and y2 is I taking the x1 and the distance between x1 and y1 in x1 square plus the square of the distance between x2 and y2 in x2 square, and then the square root. So this is the distance, and the fact is that X with this distance is a geodesic space. So we have that XD is a geodesic space. And I can also describe the geodesics. And to describe the geodesics, I have to make some small precision. So in general, in a geodesic space, I will say that gamma from some segment AB to X is, Gérard explained what is a geodesic. It means that if you take S and T in AB, then the distance between gamma S and gamma T is a difference of T and S. And here we have to reparameterize all our geodesics on some fixed interval, for example, 0, 1. And so we have to make some reparameterization, but just by multiplying the argument S by constants. And it is what we call a geodesic linearly parameterized. Okay, so gamma is a linearly parameterized geodesic. If so, there exists some constant C, such that for all ST AB, the distance between gamma S and gamma T is equal to C times the difference between T and S, right? And we'll use this also later to compare the geodesics and to reparameterize all the geodesics between 0 and 1. And now for the product space, we have that if I take gamma, is given by two maps, gamma 1 and gamma 2 from X1. So it is from interval AB X. And this is a linearly parameterized geodesic. If and only if gamma 1 and gamma 2 are linearly parameterized geodesics. Okay. It's quite easy to look at geodesics in X. It's just to pick two geodesics, one in X1, one with X2, and to look at the product, and it gives you exactly all the geodesics in X. Sorry?
You do the same constant?
No, you don't have. You have a square root of 2 as a constant, because if you take something of length 1 and something of length 1, then the diagonal has length square root of 2. Right? So if you have your geodesic here between 0 and 1 in R, here you have your geodesic in between 0 and 1 in R, and the geodesic in R2 is of length square root of 2. And if you parameterize all of them between 0 and 1, then you have a constant square root of 2 for this one in the linearity.
But you also could parameterize
each geodesic
Yes,
at different speed. You could choose. I think that the question was that you could choose gamma 1 and gamma 2 with different energies.
Yes.
Not necessarily
Yes.
one over square root.
Yeah.
Any kind of.
You can here you have, and you can have any constant here, any constant here, and then you have another constant.
In fact, you have to allow that C can be equal to 0 for gamma 1 or gamma 2 to get all the geodesics.
Yeah. If you want a geodesic which has a fixed point in one product and which you only travel in the other one, yes. Okay, there is a.
I don't see why, because if it travels, there is distance.
Sorry?
It's not because it stays on one component that the distance doesn't grow.
Yes.
So I don't,
Yes,
know
but-
why, I don't understand why you go the 0 has to be.
Because if you,
Journey
Because
it
otherwise,
just doesn't move.
no, but this is just to
Because
obtain also horizontal or vertical geodesics.
if you look at these
The
geodesics,
gamma isn't the product, isn't it?
no, because yeah, if you look at these geodesics in R2, it's given by two geodesic, one in R, which is itself, and another one in this component, which is a constant geodesic. You don't move from 0.
So your distance here is in the product, so I don't see why.
Yes, but if you do that, then you have that, okay, gamma 2 of S is equal to gamma 2 of T for any S and any T. And so you have that the distance between gamma 2 of S and gamma 2 of T, it must be 0, and it must be some constant times T minus S. So you have to pick C equal to 0.
But here you're looking at gamma in the gamma in the product.
Yes, but I'm looking at gamma in the product and I get gamma 1 and gamma 2, gamma 1 in X1 and gamma 2 in X2. And what I'm saying is that gamma 1 and gamma 2 also are linearly parameterized geodesics. And in this case, gamma 2 is parameterized by.
Just a play because in your statement it was correct. I just think that you don't say anything about the constant code. There's some constant C1 and C2 for gamma 1 and gamma 2. That's what you need.
Yes, but the constant can vanish for one of the two.
Yeah,
so I have to allow here the constant to be 0. So that's all.
Non, on ne fait pas la même chose. Le C gamma, il n'y a pas, dans son, tel que c'est écrit, c'est pas ce que tu dis. Ce que tu dis est correct. Ce que tu dis est correct, ce qui est écrit, c'est pas la même chose. Ton C, c'est pour gamma. C'est pas pour gamma et gamma.
Oui, non, mais ça, c'est pour. OK. Alors, je vais. This was for any length space. So I have to put sigma here and sigma everywhere. My gamma are sigma. It was just a very general. OK. So for Kostya.
Je l'ai éduqué comme ça, il ne faut pas changer de notation.
Le galop, c'est surtout galop.
Are you happy with it?
Yeah.
Okay. So now I'm coming to so assume that now that X1 and X2 are Kafka spaces. And what can we say about X? So I will first look at what happened when K is equal to 0. So if X1, D1, and X2, D2 are cat 0, then I can pick a triangle in X. Right, so I have X, which is X1, Y1, sorry, X1, X2, and Y, which is Y1, Y2, and Z, which is Z1, Z2. And in fact, taking a triangle in X is like taking two triangles, one in X1, which is X1, Y1, Z1, and then another one in X2, which is X2, Y2, and Z2. And since X1 and X2 are cat 0, I have a comparison triangle in R2 for this one and another one in R2 for these two. And I will look at R2 as a plane in R4. So in R4, I have R2 cross R2. So I have here a copy of R2 and so I have another copy of R2 and R4 is the product. And in this R2, I have a comparison triangle for X1, Y1, Z1. So I have X1 bar, Y1 bar, and Z1 bar. And in this, I have a comparison triangle with X2 bar, so X2 bar, Y2 bar, and Z2 bar. And then in R4, I can take just the product of this triangle with this triangle. So here I have a point, coordinate are X1 bar and X2 bar. So I have a point X bar, and I have a point, so it's a bit, I have a point Y bar, whose coordinates are given by Y1 bar and Y2 bar, Y bar, and I have the last point Z bar. Okay. My picture is a bit awful. And what I'm saying is that, in fact, this triangle, X bar, Y bar, and Z bar, is a comparison triangle for X, Y, Z. And it's quite easy to see. It's just because, for example, if you look at the distance between X and Y, you have that the square distance between X and Y is equal as the square distance between X1 and Y1 plus the square distance between X2 and Y2. Okay. But now I'm taking comparison triangles. So this is exactly in R2, the square distance between X1 bar and Y1 bar, plus the square distance between X2 bar and y2 bar. But this is in R4, the square distance. So this is our norm in R2, and in R4, this is just because the metric in R4 is a product metric of R2 and R2. So x1 bar, x2 bar minus y1 bar, y2 bar square, right? So the length here between x bar and y bar is equal to the length between x and y, and this is the same for the other ones. But this triangle, it's 4 points in R4 and 3 points in R4 are just in the plane. So this triangle is embedded in some plane P, which is isometric to R2 in R4. And now I just have to take comparison points. So I take P here and Q here, and these points splits in 2 points. So P2 and Q2, P1 and Q1. And here you have the comparison points, and you get at the end some P bar. Sorry, this is Q bar and P bar, right? And you can do exactly the same computation for the distance between P and Q. And the only thing you get is that the distance between P1 and Q1 is less than the distance between P1 bar and Q1 bar. And the same for the second triangle. Here you have P2 bar and Q2 bar. So at sometimes you have, when going from here to here, you have just an inequality, and you get the desired inequality. Right, so it's just pictures, quite easy to see. Okay, so we have that the distance between P and Q is less than the distance between P bar and Q bar, and X is K0. Okay, so this was for K equal to 0. Now we can look at what happened for K positive. And for K positive, you can do exactly the same thing. So you take your triangle, X, Y, Z, with point P and Q. So it's split in a triangle in X1 and a triangle in X2. And then you get two comparison triangles. So same thing. And then when you consider the product, this triangle is in some sphere. So here, okay, I will do it. So here I have a comparison triangle. So it is a triangle in X1, Y1, Z1, and then I have a comparison triangle which is in M2K. Okay. So this is a sphere S2 with curvature K. So X1 bar and Y1 bar and Z1 bar. And the same for the other one. And at the end, what you get is another triangle. So the same as X bar, Y bar, and Z bar. But this triangle is in S2K cross S2K. It is not in the sphere, right? But what we have is that S2K cross S2K, it has sectional curvature less than K. Okay. So what I can do is to add a third triangle. So a third triangle, say X tilde, Y tilde, and Z tilde, and this triangle is in S2K, and it is a comparison triangle for this one. And because S2K cross S2K has sectional curvature less than K, it has curvature less than K in the sense of Alexandrov. And here I will have the two P bar and Q bar. And I will have comparison points P tilde and Q tilde. And because of this property, I know that, so from the first from the first comparison, I have that the distance between P and Q is less than the distance between P bar and Q bar. And because it's K equals S2K has sectional curvature less than K, this is less than the distance between P tilde and Q tilde. And this is a comparison triangle for XYZ because the length of the edge are all the same. Okay, so it still works for positive curvature. And then the problem comes when we look at negative curvature. Okay. So for K equal to 0, the problem is that the comparison triangle is in H2K cross H2K. Same construction. Leads to comparison triangle in H2K cross H2K, that is a hyperbolic planes with curvature K, and this has only non-positive curvature. So sectional curvature of a non-positive, which has some zero curvature. Right. So H2K cross H2K is only cat 0. It's not cat minus 1. So therefore, in the case K equal to 0, so X. So if this is the most important point, if X1 and X2 are cat K, then X1 cross X2 is only cat 0. So we lose something here. And this comes from the fact that, so here, when you take the product, you have, if you take a geodesic in this factor, H2K, and another one here, you get in H2K cross H2K the product of the two geodesics. And the geodesic is just isometric to R, so the product is isometric to R2, and you have some zero curvature plane in H2K cross H2K. So what I will do now is that to see that this is this construction, in fact, also happens if you take metric spaces and if you take the product of two metric spaces. So I will show now that in fact in the product of two cat K spaces you have some flat triangles. So I will say something about flatness. So this is a result I like very much. So the theorem is the following. So I'm taking XD, the cat K space, triangle X, Y, Z in X, and its comparison triangle delta X bar, Y bar, and Z bar in M2K. So what I know is that if I look at the angles of the first triangle at X, Y, and Z, they are less than the angle of the second triangle in X bar, Y bar, and Z bar. And the result is a kind of rigidity result. So if the angle at X between Y and Z is equal to the angle at X bar between Y bar and Z bar, then the convex hulls, so I will not write that. The convex hull of X, Y, and Z is isometric. The convex hull of X bar, Y bar, and Z bar. Right? So this needs for convex hull. So if at some point you have equality in the angles, then you have a flat triangle, right? And you have equality in all the angles, and everything is like triangle. Sorry?
Your K is arbitrary.
Yes. And if K is positive, you have to take triangle small enough. Okay, so the proof is the following. So I'm taking my triangle XYZ. And okay. And I will construct two comparison triangles. So I'm picking some point R. And I'm taking two comparison triangles. So the triangle X, Y, R will have a comparison triangle X bar, Y bar, R bar. And the triangle X, R, Z, we have a comparison triangle X bar, R bar, and Z bar. And okay. So Y bar, X bar, R bar, and Z bar. And once I made this picture, you know that I will use some Alexandrov lemma. And what I also get is that here, the sum of these two angles, say alpha 1 and no, I'm not saying alpha 1, alpha 2, beta 1 and beta 2. I know that the sum of the two is greater than pi. And because of the cat-k property here, if I take beta 1 bar and beta 2 bar, I have that chi is less than beta 1 plus beta 2. So it's even equal because I am on the geodesic. No, it's less because it is a triangle inequality for angles, which is less than beta 1 bar plus beta 2 bar because of the cat-k property. And so I can apply the Alexandrov lemma. And I construct a comparison triangle X tilde, Y tilde, and Z tilde, whose lengths are the same. So here I have the same lengths. And I will have some R tilde here with same lengths. Okay, and this is a comparison triangle for my initial triangle, beta XYZ. And I know that when using Alexandrov lemma, I increase all the angles. So if I look at, I will say alpha 1 and alpha 2, these two angles, what I get is that the angle at x between y and z, by the triangle inequality, it is less than alpha 1 plus alpha 2, which is less because of the Katka property than alpha 1 bar and alpha 2 bar. Okay, here I am in M2K, so the sum of these two angles is exactly the angle at x bar between y bar and z bar, because I am in a Riemannian manifold. And when I perform Alexandrov-Rema, I know that I increase the angles, so this is less than the angle at x tilde between y tilde and z tilde. And so there is a confusion between my notation in the statement and my notation in the proof, sorry. So here I am comparing the angle for the comparison triangle, right? Okay. So now if I assume that I have equality for the angle between at x for the triangle and the angle for its comparison triangle, then all this inequality must be equality. And in particular, I am in the equality case of the Alexandrov-Rema. And when being in the equality case in Alexandrov-Rema, I know that everything is fixed. And in particular, the distance between x tilde and r tilde is the same as the distance between x bar and r bar, which is the same as the distance between x and r, right? So the equality of the angles implies that the distance between x and r is equal to the distance between x tilde and r tilde. And now with the equality of these two lengths, I can construct a map phi from the convex hull of the comparison triangle. Wait, and I just asked that for any r on the geodesic segment between y and z, phi maps isometrically the geodesic between x tilde and r tilde to the geodesic between x and r, right? So I'm taking each of these geodesic segments and I send them isometrically. That is just respecting the distance to x to the geodesic between the corresponding geodesic segment in x. Okay, and what I'm claiming now is that phi is an isometric, and this is still a consequence of the Katka property.
I'm confused. Does it imply that basically X was two-dimensional, or?
No. But it will imply that I have some two-dimensional surface which span the boundary of the triangle. So perhaps I am in some infinite dimensional space, but I have a triangle, and I'm constructing a surface bounding by the boundary of the
The
triangle.
convex hull is two-dimensional.
The convex hull will be two-dimensional, so I will have some flat.
Okay.
And somehow it's totally geodesic.
And then it will be totally geodesic because it's an isometry which respects the geodesic. Okay, so let's assume that phi is an isometry. So I still have a picture to do. I have X, Y, Z, and I have the comparison triangle. X tilde, Y tilde, and Z tilde. And then I'm taking 2 points and I'm looking at the image by phi. So taking 2 points is taking R1, and R2 with a geodesic segment here, and the comparison points R1 tilde and R2 tilde with the corresponding geodesic segment. And so I'm taking P here and Q, sorry, P. So P tilde and Q tilde. So in fact, I just pick P tilde and Q tilde. I'm looking at the geodesic segment on which they are, and I'm taking the corresponding geodesic segment in the triangle. So P and the comparing point P and Q. And I have that P is equal to phi of Q, phi of Q of P tilde. So Q is equal to phi of Q tilde, and P is equal to phi of P tilde, right? So now I will consider these 3 angles, alpha 1, alpha 2, and alpha 3, and the corresponding angle, alpha 1 tilde, alpha 2 tilde, and alpha 3 tilde. And what I know is that the angle at X between Y and Z is less by the triangular inequality than alpha 1 plus alpha 2 plus alpha 3. I know that the length of the segment between X tilde and R1 tilde is the same as the length between X and R1. So, and because I took comparison points, I have, so these lengths are the same, these lengths are the same, and this one is the same as this one. Okay, so the triangle X tilde, Y tilde, R1 tilde is a comparison triangle for X, Y, R1, and therefore alpha 1 is less than alpha 1 tilde, and the same for alpha 2 and alpha 3 is less than alpha 1 tilde plus alpha 2 tilde plus alpha 3 tilde. And here I am in a Riemannian manifold, so this is exactly the angle at X tilde between Y tilde and Z tilde. Okay, but now I have equality everywhere because I know that the first one is equal to the last one. And because here I have alpha 1 less than alpha 1 tilde, alpha 2 less than alpha 2 tilde, and the same for alpha 3, I know that all the angles are the same. Okay, so I have that alpha 1 and so equality of angles. So we have, in particular, the most important is that alpha 2 is equal to alpha 2 tilde. And now I have to use twice the 4K property. So first I can compare the triangle X, R1, R2 with the triangle X tilde, R1 tilde, and R2 tilde. And I know that this triangle, the points P tilde and Q tilde are the comparison point of P and Q. This is just the construction of phi because I sent isometrically the segment, the geodesic segment X tilde, R1 tilde on the corresponding geodesic segment. So the basic definition of the 4K property says that the distance between P and Q is less than the distance between P tilde and Q tilde. Okay, and then I use once again the 4K property, but I use the hinge property. So the last one I gave when I know that alpha 2 is equal to alpha 2 tilde. So here I have a hinge, X tilde, P tilde, Q tilde, and X, Q, P, and the 4K property tell me that the distance between P and Q is greater than the distance between P tilde and Q tilde. And then I am done, the distance are the same. And with this, so I know that phi is an isometry from the convex rule of X tilde, Y tilde, Z tilde, which is just triangle in the model space. And because it is an isometry, it sent geodesics and geodesics. And so if I take 2 points, for example, on the boundary, then the geodesics between these 2 points is the image of some geodesics from the convex fluid here. And this implies that the image is convex here in the image, right? And if I come back a little bit to the product spaces, so I take so x1, d1, and x2, d2. So cat K spaces with K negative. And so we saw that if I take X, which is the product, it is only cat 0. Right? It's not cat K. And in fact, it cannot be better. Whatever the X1 and X2, we have some flat triangles, and it's quite easy to construct. So I take a triangle in X. Right. So the first point is x1, x2, and here the second point y is just y1 x2. So I fix the second point, and I'm taking a geodesic which is in fact x1, and for the last point z, I fix x1, and I'm taking a geodesic which is in the second factor x2. Okay. And if I'm looking at the length of the size, because I am on a product space, it's easy to see that C square is equal to A square plus B square. Just write what are the distances. And then I have to consider this angle. And what I'm saying is that this angle is in fact is a right angle. It's equal to pi over 2. And this just because if I take the geodesic from X, so here I'm taking the geodesic, I'm taking some gamma of T, or say gamma here, gamma of T and sigma of T. I still have that the distance between gamma of T and sigma of T square, this is just because the geodesic comes from the geodesic in X1 is equal to the distance between X and gamma of T square plus the distance between X and sigma of T square. So this is the same reasoning as we can do with Y and Z. And now if I'm just coming back to the definition of Alexandrov angles, so where I use a comparison triangle, the comparison triangle must have, because of this relation, the comparison triangle must have a right angle at the point x bar, whatever be t, and when I let t tends to 0, this implies that the Alexandrov angle at x between y and z is equal to pi over 2, right? And now with all of this, if I'm looking at the comparison triangle in R2, I have a triangle whose lengths are C square, C, A, and B. So you know that this triangle in R2 must have an angle equal to pi over 2. And so the comparison triangle has the same angle at x bar. So this is x bar, y bar, and z bar. The angle at x bar and at x are the same. And from just the flatness theorem I just proved, this implies that my triangle, so triangle x, y, z is flat. So whatever be your metric space x1 and x2, if there are k, you take the product, somewhere you have some zero curvature in the product, even for arbitrary metric space. We can make a 5-minute break. Yes, thank you.
Les travaux sont pleins, en fait. Sauf ceux qui sont de l'autre côté.
Non, non, il faut avoir un blèche. Ça ne sera pas plein. C'est dans H2 pour H2, tu as ta couverture, la couverture moins 1,5.
Ah oui, en travers.
Dès que tu pars en travers. Il faut vraiment que tu aies un.
Il y a quelqu'un qui pose la question où est cela.
Ah,
Ah, tu vas répondre tout à l'heure. Je répondrai tout à l'heure. C'est la même.
Non, parce que c'est vrai que ça fait toujours les là, c'est toujours des tirs dans un produit sur les tirs comme ça, on fait toujours des cas comme ça.
Je vous rappelle, parce que cet après-midi, on est obligé d'aller dans une autre salle. Il y a une habilitation ici, Francis Lazarus.
Oui.
Cet après-midi, on se dans une autre salle.
Tu l'as dit.
Vous venez pas, oui, mais je le redis tous les jours. Je le dirai même demain.
Vous êtes que Gérard, il n'oublie pas.
il a déjà oublié qu'il avait dit.
Non, je n'ai pas du tout oublié, mais je connais mes collègues mathématiciens, en fait.
De se pointer ici.
Et voilà, donc c'est une salle, pour ceux qui ne connaissent pas la maison, au 3e étage. Donc quand vous arrivez au 3e étage, vous allez au fond à gauche. C'est une salle qui est aussi grande que celle-ci, sauf qu'il n'y a que 2 tableaux au lieu de 4. Ça va gêner Gilles, Courtois, à moins que l'habilitation soit terminée à 16h. Ça, on ne sait pas encore. Mais je le répéterai au début du prochain exposé et à la fin du prochain exposé. Et même pour me faire plaisir, je le répéterai demain.
Ou à 14h.
Ou à 14h.
C'est un changement vecteur. Donc, c'est un produit d'espace, c'est géodésique d'un côté et géodésique de l'autre. Ce que tu vois, c'est un produit de R2. C'est un produit de R3, géodésiquement, c'est un R2.
Ah, dans ce sens.
Dans un produit, tu as des changements isométriques de R2. Tu as des droites impaires, tu as des produits géodésiques, ça fait des changements de trucs là de R2.
Dans S2, quoi, S2, tu as un changement du torque plat. Tu prends un S1 dans un S2, un S2 dans l'autre S2, et tu fais le produit, tu as un torque plat.
C'est quelqu'un qui a suivi les premiers cours. Quand tu veux répondre, je pense que c'est Laurent.
C'est un truc d'un côté, un truc d'un côté, un machin de l'autre. Dans le produit, d'un produit, truc par machin de l'autre.
Oui, non, c'est vrai qu'on parle d'un espace.
C'est quelque chose, c'est universel le produit. Donc, quand tu as des sous-trucs, ça fait des.
Oui, non, c'est pas n'importe quel.
Et puis on va reprendre.
Ce que tu disais, Jacques, on veut dire, on fait carton Adenauer.
Oui.
Jacques, c'est bien ce qu'il disait, Jacques. On veut dire en français, on veut dire des cartons Adenauer.
J'ai pas coupé le micro.
C'est pas grave.
Non,
Carton Adenauer, Alexandre
Okay.
Tokonogov.
Okay, let's start. So there are questions.
Yes.
So one question is, what is flat?
Okay, so flat, it's just been in a Riemannian setting, flat just been something with zero curvature. And so here, flat, it just means that some part which is isometric to a domain in R2, right? So here, we just prove that the convex rule of the triangle is isometric to a triangle in R2, so it's flat. Right. Was there questions?
Yeah, what is K numerically, but you introduce K already, so it's fine.
Yeah. Okay, so for session today, I will.
Don't understand. There is another question. What happens for the product of two cat K space with cat K positive? But you already said. No?
But here we cannot do the same because we used that we have a comparison in some cat zero space. We use cat zero. So I don't know if you take two cat K space with K positive, if you can find some flat triangles. Mm-hmm. But here we use cat zero, so we had to assume that K is negative. So I will present another way to construct cat K space, which is a gluing construction, which is due to Reshetniak. Sorry. The proof I made here, if you are in a Riemannian setting, it's okay. But the proof I made here, it's not obvious for metric spaces with cat K property. Because here I use that I have a comparison in the cat zero space.
But if you have a product of geodesic space, you have inside a flat segment like geodesic, another flat geodesic. So in the product, you see a product of flat guys.
Yes, but if you take a triangle, are you sure you can expand the triangle by something? It's not okay. No, because you have your two geodesic, but the geodesic joining the endpoints are not necessarily in the convex rule of the first two sides. No. If you take the hinge, and okay, we have the product, but are you sure that if you take the endpoints of the hinge and you take the geodesic between them, it may not stay in the convex rule of the first two edges? It's not clear. For me, it's not clear. Okay, so the green construction. So now what I'm doing is that I'm taking X1 and D1 and X2 and D2, and I'm taking two parts, two subsets. So A1 in X1 and A2 in X2. And I will assume that I have some isometry between A1 and A2. Right, and I'm doing a gluing, which means so I will dot the gluing like that. And this is just the disjoint union of X1 and X2. And I quotient this union by identifying point in A1 with their image in A2 by the isometry phi. So X is equivalent to phi of X, right? So this just means that, so I have X1 with the region A1, and I have X2 with the region A2, and A2 is isometric to A1, and so I'm just gluing A2 on A1, and so what the picture I get at the end is this X2 with here, the region here is A1, which becomes equal to phi of, sorry, it's A2, which is equal to phi of A1. Right, and just a gluing. And so, like for product, I have to make this X a length space. And this is done in the following way. So I am looking at the distance of 2 points, and I will just say that the distance between X and Y is the same as in X1 or in X2. So this is di of X and Y if both X and Y belongs to Xi. So for I equal 1 or 2. So if I remain on one part, then the distance is computed with the distance of X1. And if they are in 2 different parts, so we say that X distance of X and Y, this is the infimum over all the A in A1 of the distance between X and A plus the distance between phi of A and Y. And this is if X belongs to X1 and Y belongs to X2, right? So here, if I have X in X1 and I have Y in X2, and pick some A, which is in in A2 of, so this is phi of A, A and phi of A is the same thing. And I'm taking the distance here and the distance here, and I take the infimum over all the A, right? And if I want this to be a length space, I have this geodesics to make this geodesic converging. And for this, I need some hypothesis on A, and there are 2 kinds of hypotheses. So the first one is that X1 and X2 are proper. It means that closed balls are compact. Closed balls are compact. X1 and X2 are proper, and A1 and A2 are closed. Then X is a length space, is a geodesic space. You just take a minimizing sequence. And because the sequence is minimizing, it will stay in some closed ball centered at X and some closed ball centered at Y. And with compacity, you can make this minimizing sequence converging. And because A1 and A2 are closed, it converges to some point in A1 and A2. And in fact, so this is the easy hypothesis. And you can do better without, because this implies in particular local compactness. And you can do better, but it's a bit more tricky, without assuming anything on a priori. Oh yes, you have to assume that XA, if X1 and X2 are KK, and A1 and A2 are complete. then the same hole. And this is really more tricky, and you use a Cat-K property to prove that the minimized sequence is a Cauchy sequence. But, I won't go into this step. So now what is the theorem, the gluing theorem by Reshetniak? This is due to Reshetniak. Means that this gluing preserves the Cat-K property. So if X1 and X2 are Cat-K, and A1 and A2 are decay convex, then X is Cat-K. So I just precise that what means decay convex. So A is decay convex if for any x, y in A, if the distance between x and y is less than decay, then any geodesic between x and y stay in A. We take 2 points, not too far one from each other, distance less than decay, then any geodesics remains in the region A. Okay, so we have 15 minutes. So I will begin the proof here because I need some space. So I use the angle condition to prove that X is Cat-K. So I pick a triangle in X. And there are settings where you have nothing to done. If X, Y, and Z are all in X1, for example, then it is a triangle in X1, and then it has a Cat-K property. So we only have to assume that one of the points is in X2 and the other two are in X1, or contrary. Everything is symmetric. So I will take a triangle such that X and Y belong to X1 and Z belong to X2. Right? So I have X, Y, and Z. And here I am in X2, and here I am in X1. And when going from X1 to X2, at some point, say A, I must go through the gluing region A1 or A2, right? And going from Y to Z, at some point B, I have to be in the gluing region. Okay, and now I will look at 3 triangles. So the first one will be ABZ, which is because I am in the gluing region, and the gluing region is a subregion of X2. ABZ is a triangle in X2. And then I will look at 2 other triangles. And the two other triangles, AB and X and XYB, will be triangle in X1. And then I will use the Katkai property of these triangles to deduce the Katkai property on the whole triangle XYZ. So I'm constructing the comparing triangles. So I have triangle ABZ, which will be A bar, B bar, and Z bar. Triangle XAB will be triangle X bar, A bar, and B bar. And the triangle XYB will be the triangle X bar, Y bar, and B bar. And the picture is the following, and I will explain the picture. So this is Z bar, A bar, and B bar. So the first comparison triangle. The second one will be like that, with X bar, and the third one will be like that. It's like a rocket. So why I have this kind of picture? It's just because if I look at these angles here, I know that the sum of these two angles is greater than pi because of the triangle inequality. And because the first triangle is in X2, it has a Katkai property. So these angles here is greater than, smaller than this one. And the same for the other one. And I know that here I will have an angle which is larger than pi, right? And this will be the same here with the three angles, whose sum will be greater than pi, but the three angles here are less than the corresponding angles in the comparison picture. So it is also, here I also have an angle which is greater than pi. Okay. And then what I get is that all the distances are the same, right? So now what I have to do is to flatten this angle to get a comparison triangle, and I still use Alexandre-Prémat, and I have to use it twice. So I make first use of Alexandre-Prémat. And what I get is something like that. And when using this, so let's say Z tilde, Z tilde, E tilde, B tilde, and X tilde, and Y tilde.
Philippe, there is a question which I don't understand. The angle inequality works in A, quote mark. The bluing region is open.
No, the bluing region is closed and it is convex. So because the bluing region is convex, we know that AB is in the geodesic between A and B is in the bluing region. So if I'm looking at the bluing, so I will draw in green the space X1, X2, and the gluing. So the space X1, the space X2 is here. In blue, I will make X1. And here I have the gluing. So in yellow, I have, no, it's not yellow. In orange, I have the gluing region, right? And the important point is that the triangle ABZ is in X2. And X2 is Katkai, so I have inequality for the angles of A, B, and Z with the corresponding angle in A bar, B bar, and Z bar. Okay, and the green region is convex, so the geodesic between A and B is in the green region. Okay, and then the triangle A, B, and X and X, Y, B are in X1. So I have the comparison, they are Katkai, I have the comparison. So I want to be a bit quick on the proof, because what is interesting is that what we can do with this green theorem. So I first use 1 times Alexandre-Prémat to flatten this angle, and with the quadrangle X bar, B bar, Z bar, A bar. So here's the triangle X bar, Y bar, and B bar is not concerned by Alexandre-Prémat, and all these angles are fixed. But all the other angles, so this one, this one are increasing when I flatten this one. So since I increase this one, I increase the angle at X tilde. I increase the angle at Z tilde, and I did nothing with the angle at Y tilde. And then I use another time Alexandrov lemma to flatten the angle here at B tilde. Right? And then I get, say, X hat, Y hat, and Z hat. So we sum A hat and B hat. So I use Alexandrov lemma for the quadrangle X tilde, Y tilde, B tilde, Z tilde. And when doing this, once again, I increase the angle. So the angle here at X tilde is less than the angle at X hat, and the same for the angle at Z hat, and also the same for the angle at Y hat. So now if I come from the starting point, I have some angles here, which are less than the angle here because of the K property of X1 and X2. And then now the three angles at X bar, Y bar, and Z bar are increasing with the first application of Alexandrov lemma and still increasing with the second application. So the final angle are greater than the initial ones, and therefore X, Y, Z has the angle property and the space is K. So now we can do some gluing. With examples of gluing. So the basic, so I will do example with K equal to 0. It's easy to construct other examples. So the basic cat0 spaces are just convex bodies in R2 or Rn. Okay. Convex in Rn are K0. Right? Because just if you take a triangle in the convex, it's a triangle, it's the same triangle as in Rn, and it has a cat0 property. So you can take a convex part, for example, in R2, and you can glue it, the convex part of R1, and then glue it, the convex part in R3, right? And this is cat0. And the gluing is just a point, and a point is convex and closed and everything. So this is the first basic example, and what we can see on this example is that you don't have any notion of dimension, a natural notion of dimension for cat0 spaces, because here you will be of dimension 3, here of dimension 1, here of dimension 2, etc. And also perhaps, I don't know if you say some word about the lower bound on the curvature. You can use Alexandrov tree to define spaces with curvature lower bound just by reversing the inequality you ask for the distances. And the situation is completely different. In particular, if you look at metric spaces with a lower bound of the curvature in the sense of Alexandrov, then these spaces have a natural dimension, which is an integer. So the situation is very, very different. So another example of a region which is not convex. So I will just take a sector in R2. But I'm looking at the non-convex parts, and this is still cat0. And this is still cat0 because you can get it by gluing two convex sectors. And you glue these two convex sectors along this line, and this line is convex, it's closed, and so you can do the Reshetniak gluing, and you get a cat0 part, which is not convex. And what you have to wonder is what is the distance between these 2 points. So one is in x1, the other one is in x2. So you have to take a point in the gluing region and you look at the sum of the distance and you want to minimize it. And the minimizing is you get is this, right? So this is the geodesic between these 2 points. Okay. But when you do that, what you observe is that if you take 2 points on the boundary, the geodesic remains in the boundary. So the boundary is convex in this cat zero space. Okay. So the boundary is convex. So we can do, if we have a convex boundary, we can glue along this boundary. And gluing, so I will be taking another sector like that. So it also have a convex boundary. And then I'm gluing along this blue part with this one. And what I get, so this is I will picture the gluing. So I'm taking this part, and this one is here. And I have the other one, which is here. The picture is not very fine. Okay, so if you can do it with a sheet of paper and scissor and scotch, and you cook you cut your 2 sheets of papers, and then you glue them with some scotch.
Tape.
And
Tape.
you tape your tape. Scotch is tape.
You
Okay.
cannot advertise for Scotch.
Scotch. Some scotch, yes. So you can use tape, and you can glue your 2 sheets of papers along the cutting, and you see your surface. And this surface is cat zero. Right. And it's typically a kind of surface which is flat almost everywhere, because if you take a triangle which is away from the, and even on the gluing, your triangle will be a flat triangle. And in fact, the point which where you have some negative curvature is here. Okay. So this is an example, and so you can construct plenty of examples. For example, if you can wonder if you remove some square, so you take the exterior of square in R2. This is not cat zero, because if you take these 2 points, you have 2 geodesics joining these 2 points. So it is not cat zero, it's not uniquely geodesic, but you can prove that it is cat something, and I think it's cat p squared over 4. And just by considering the gluing of these 2 parts, the gluing along this one, and sorry, so the gluing is not here, because here you didn't glue. The gluing is along these 2 lines. So the union of these 2 lines is not convex, but it is 2 convex, because if you take the distance between these 2 points is equal to 2, and if you take 2 points which are distance less than 2, they must be in the same connected component, and so you can join them. So this gluing is 2 convex, and then you get the cat K property for K equal 2, which is for dk equal 2, which is K p squared over 4. So we can do construction like that. So I'm stopping here for today.
Thank you very much. Are there any more questions online?
I have it.
Attends. Ok, maintenant tu peux parler.
It's more a remark than a question, but I think if you take that construction of gluing the 2 wedges,
Yes.
but if you take the convex side, then you get basically a cone with you glue two wedges, but with angle less than pi, you get a cone or an angle less than 2 pi, which is not Cas0. And that's a counterexample of the theorem if the gluing agent is not convex. I was wondering whether if you can construct an example of two Cas0 spaces with gluing region which is not convex, and so the theorem of Raj, I don't remember. Yeah.
Yeah, if you don't have convexity of the
Yes.
gluing. Yes. Yes.
And one way to construct a counterexample is in fact you take the convex wedges and you get a cone. Is there any other easy counterexample?
Yes, this one. Because if you look this thing is this is Cat0, right? And you take the same, and this is Cat0, and you glue them with something which is not convex. You glue them along this, which is not convex, and the gluing is just this, and it is not Cat0, but it is you have. If it is not convex, if you can measure the lack of convexity, that it is convex if points are at distance less than some constant, then you still get some curvature of our bond, but depending on the non-convexity.
This includes them to get a sphere.
Yes, but if you take two disks, the boundary is not convex.
It's a counter.
It's also a counterexample.
Do you have some kind of general statement? Because here, in the cases you have shown where the floated doesn't behave well with respect to cat K, or here the gluing, it seems that the constant, which is logical, gets worse and worse. Maybe you are cat something, but if you take to something to cat K prime, it seems to get something with a K second, which is bigger. Do we have some kind of such section for gluing or?
Example, we have cat K for no K.
No. You have a K which is bigger. You can say that I have a cat K space and a cat K prime space. I can get something which is let me say this way. I take two cat K spaces. Under some condition, I glue them, I get a cat K 10,000 times K.
Can you repeat the question, but in a way that we can understand?
So the question is, you have two cat K space,
Yes.
and you lay a condition on these cat K spaces such that when you glue them, there is some K prime,
Okay.
such that the gluing is cat K prime.
If you take the
But-
diameter of the gluing part.
It will depend on the gluing part.
Yeah.
Uh,
If you take dk larger than the diameter of the gluing part,
yes,
it will be dk convex. So you are in the condition of the theorem.
yes, but it is for gluing which is with finite diameter, so
Yes.
it's
Then you
quite.
solve the problem of the disks.
But you can. It's easy to take an example where the gluing isn't cat K for any K. So you take this one, but here you made some you had some hinge here, but you have one which is smaller and one which is smaller, etc. And then if you take any constant C, you will have somewhere some 2 points with distance less than C, which are not in the same connected component, so you cannot connect them. So with a smaller and smaller some small hole, then you will have for it is not C convex for any C. So the gluing won't be cat K for any K.
So there is a question in chat. Are there any non-proper cat K spaces? It's a question of definition.
Yes, you take a Hilbert space, infinite dimensional, it is not proper, and it is Cat0. So what is interesting in the construction of the gluing when you assume so if you have that your two spaces x1 and x2 are cat K and the gluing region is complete, and you don't have to assume proper, then you can make the gluing. So you can glue an infinite dimensional, for example, Hilbert space along the line with a plane or with something like that. So the drawing construction is very large, very wide. You can do a lot of things.